Good morning or good afternoon, depending on where you're at. Actually, it's afternoon here. So maybe good afternoon or good evening. I think those are probably the two. Unless you're way like maybe you're south of the equator, then maybe it's the morning. I don't know. At any rate, I'm your host, Bob Mata, and welcome to Defense Diaries for our continuing coverage of the people of the state of Arizona versus Lori Vallow, day 3. So yeah, we are starting a little bit late. I wanted to leave us a little bloop room. So if you guys have been cheating, which I don't know why you do if you're planning on watching here, like I don't know why you'd ever want to watch this twice. So we're going to be starting back when the morning court started. So I'm looking at it here. I'm going to pull it up. Allie's on a phone call. She'll be joining us momentarily. Let me pull this up here and we will start where they started this morning, which had Emilio Estevez's long lost brother cop on the stand. All right, let me whip this over to the other side real quick. Pop that over there. Oh. Let's see. Boop. Oh, there we go. There we go. All right, so I see I've already got a few bloop bloops. Not only do we have bloop bloops, we have the ability to do 1.25, so which is good. There's that witness looking excited about being there. He's off the stand. All right, we should be getting there. Man, using a lot of blooping. A lot of blooping getting used right now. I'm just going to use it. That's so much blooping. I'm going to just slide. All right, so judges on the bench.
Let's bring in the jury.
Oh, wait. Do you have whatever exhibit?
Oh boy. They went to the white noise again.
I believe.
You will bring the jury. You will bring the jury.
God, I'm gonna have to bloop some more. More blooping. Lozzie, have you been cheating and watching this thing already? Lori's firing on all cylinders today. All right. It's good to know.
Detective Coons, I know we didn't really establish yesterday. I know that you're retired. Is that okay if I call you Detective Coons, or would you prefer something else?
Detective is fine.
Okay, thank you. Detective Coons, yesterday you tested.
Hold on. Does that sound a little distorted to y'all? It sounds a little distorted to me. I'm gonna turn it down a notch. see how that sounds any better.
Testified that no stippling was found as a result of the shot on my husband's chest. Is that correct?
To my knowledge, none was found.
Okay. So would it surprise you if the medical examiner expressed in his defense interview that there was stippling found in that shot?
Would it surprise me that he had found it? Not necessarily based on the information.
Okay. Would it surprise you if the medical examiner expressed that the shooter would have had to be 2 to 4 feet away for that stippling to be present?
And this is from your interview or from the report?
From the interview.
Okay. No, that actually would still be consistent with my observations at the scene.
Okay, great. If someone very muscular like my husband were 2 to 4 feet away from you holding up a bat, would you consider that a threat?
And I would object to speculation, relevance.
Your Honor, I'm asking for his opinion as a professional and as a firearms expert.
He's not, okay.
That goes to the ultimate
hold on.
decision.
The objection is sustained and it calls for a legal conclusion.
It calls for a legal conclusion?
Yes, move on.
Uh-oh.
Were you present, Detective, when my husband was shot?
No, ma'am.
Is there a video recording of it?
To my knowledge, no.
So is your opinion then an educated guess about what really happened?
It's based on known facts.
Okay. Were you aware, Detective, that my husband and my brother were very good friends?
No, ma'am, I didn't know the relationship.
Did you know that they hung out and played golf together?
Objection, relevance.
Sustained.
Your Honor, I'm going somewhere with this.
Oh, I
My
guess,
follow-up question will explain.
I guess you can answer if you knew that they played golf. I did not know.
In all of your investigation of my life, you never came across this information?
Objection, relevance.
Sustained.
Are you familiar with my husband's wishes for his funeral?
Objection, relevance.
Sustained.
Did you learn in your investigation that he named my brother Alex as one of his 5 best friends?
And I'm going to object again to relevance.
Sustained.
Did you read the reports in this case?
I did not read all of the reports in this case. No, I've read mine and I've authored mine, but I have not read the other reports.
None of the other reports except for your own?
That's correct.
Okay. Detective, are you familiar with the follow-up report you wrote dated July 29th, 2019?
You're going to have to be a little bit more specific.
Did you review your reports in preparation for your testimony here today?
Yes, but I have not memorized the dates of when I made a report entry.
Okay. Would you like to see it to refresh your recollection?
That would be helpful.
Okay.
Doesn't look like they're going to let Lori approach witnesses. She might, strangle them or something. Who knows? Here, can you bring this up? Typically, that would be the lawyer. I don't know where Mandy is. Yeah, they can zap her.
Boring, boring.
Does that look like a true and correct copy of your report?
There she is.
I believe it is.
And those Bates pages run from what to what, please?
They're obscured in the footnotes of it, but it looks like it's 126 through 131.
Okay. And on the last page of your report, on Bates page 131, you explain what a shored wound is.
Yes, ma'am.
Could you read that underlined portion?
And I'm going to object to hearsay to reading it.
Sustained. You can ask him to explain what a shored wound is.
Okay. Can you explain to us what the shored wound is that you explained in your report?
Yes, a shored wound would be a wound created as an exit wound where the projectile is exiting the body and the body is either up against a firm surface or firm material like spandex type thing. That's how it's been explained to me.
Okay, that's fair. You said held in place by tight clothing. Is that correct?
Yes,
Okay. Did you in fact, and it says in your report, did you in fact collect my husband's clothing?
yes,
Okay. And you took the clothing, it says, to the property storage facility. Is that correct?
yes, it went to a drying cage.
Okay. Detective, are you familiar with bamboo clothing?
Publicly buzzed, baby.
I can't say that I am.
Okay. Were you aware that on July 29th, 2019, my husband was wearing a $200 bamboo workout shirt?
Objection to relevance.
He can answer if he knows.
I have no idea what the cost is.
Are you aware that
Good
bamboo
shirt.
is a heavy-duty fabric not to rip or tear except under extreme conditions?
I've not done any research into bamboo fabric.
Okay. So could this fabric of his shirt have caused the wound to be short?
It could have been a contributor, but it would not have been in this particular case.
Why so?
The body would have been on the floor where the bullet defect was in the floor.
So you just said in your report earlier that a short wound could be caused by tight clothing. Is that correct?
Correct.
And you're saying that could not have happened in this case?
The shirt did not appear to be tight clothing to me.
Well, it was made of bamboo, as we established, right? Is that correct?
I am taking your word for it. I do not know that it's a bamboo shirt.
Okay. And you did not investigate that at all?
No, ma'am.
But you had the shirt in your possession,
It was seized as evidence, yes.
and you never checked what kind of fabric it was,
No, ma'am.
and you never checked if that could be a possibility,
No, ma'am.
and you knew that spandex was kind of a material that could make that kind of short mark that you just mentioned, correct?
It would have to be super tight clothing.
Super tight clothing,
Yes.
or a fabric that's even stronger than the spandex that you mentioned.
The strength of the fabric, I don't believe, has a huge play in it unless it is form-fitting and compressing the skin, much like a hard surface or firm surface would.
Okay? But what you said in your report was that held in place by tight clothing could cause a short wound.
As has been explained to me, yes.
Okay. Detective, in your report, you mentioned let's see. So it is possible that his shirt could have caused the wound and not the floor.
I'm going to object to Ashton answered.
I'll let him answer.
I don't know if it's possible or not for that particular shirt to have caused a short wound.
Because you did not do any investigation about the shirt.
Because the shirt did not appear to be form-fitting and very tight.
Did it cover over the shoulder where the wound was?
It was a full t-shirt at the time.
That's what I'm saying. So was the t-shirt where the wound was on his back, where the bullet exited, was his shirt covering that part of his body?
Certainly.
Okay. Was there a hole in the shirt at that location?
Yes, ma'am.
How big was the hole?
The size of the bullet?
So small. Small.
Fabric stretches and contracts. So it was a bullet size.
Okay. So when you had this shirt and you saw the bullet hole, it was after the shirt had been cut off by the firefighters. Is that correct?
It hadn't been cut off. It had been cut down the middle, down the front,
So just the front was cut. So the back was intact?
minus the defects that we have seen from the bullet and exits, yes.
Okay. So you were able to measure that. Do you have a measurement for those bullet holes in the shirt?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So it is possible that his shirt could have caused the wound. The
Caused
short
what wound?
again, that we've asked and answered this 3 times
Sustained.
now.
Okay, so is it possible that any shirt could have caused a shored wound in any kind of,
And I'm going to object to foundation as to any overly broad.
as an expert?
Let me rule on the objection.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I'll sustain the objection.
As an expert and in your professional opinion, could that fabric of his shirt that he was wearing that day cause a shored wound?
Again, I'm going to object to asked and answered multiple times.
Sustained.
In the last paragraph of your report, Detective, you indicate that you were able to confirm your suspicion of the body position at the scene. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And what did you mean by suspicion?
Well, at the
Broken.
time, I couldn't see through his body
Hey.
full trajectories, so I did need the information from the autopsy. The trajectory rods helped with that, as well as the doctor's statements.
All right, babe, I'm going to try to catch you up a little bit and turn your mic up a hair. You sounded low.
I do?
Here, speak. You
Do
did
I sound
initially.
low? Do I sound low?
No, you
Yeah.
sound good. You sound good.
Okay.
So Lori's now questioning the same cop on the stand from the end of the day yesterday, and she brought up this concept of shored wounds, SHORED wounds, and those are wounds like if you are
Right, against something
Right.
firm behind you so that
exactly
it doesn't have
shot
room
against a
to.
wall, right?
Right.
Something like that. So she's trying to question him about what Charles was wearing. He had a bamboo shirt on, and they
Mhm.
said that, occasionally if it's like a sausage casing type of shirt, like a super tight shirt, that can cause a shored wound. So she's obviously trying to get into this concept of that Charles was not on the ground
Right.
when he was shot. I mean, like, if you guys are wondering what she's trying to poke holes in, it's the concept that Charles was laying on the ground when he was shot with the gut shot that traversed its way through his body and ultimately ended up going out through his back shoulder. So that's what she's trying to accomplish here. Whether or not you think she is being very effective in
I mean,
getting
that
that out.
bamboo shirt, I guess, could be pretty thick.
Pretty thick
Pretty thick. I mean,
bamboo.
bamboo's strong.
Bamboo is a very strong fabric. That's true. Which, speaking of which, are very expensive Brookstone sheets. This is the second set where now there's a hole.
I think that's Nanook.
Man, that dog, dude. Why do you keep ripping my sheets, bro? All right, let's keep going. So that catches you up. That's all you've missed.
All of that combined did give me the 2 different bullet paths.
Okay.
No, don't confuse it. Clever. What they're talking about with the shored wound. The concept being that the shore wound was in existence because when he was shot, he was laying on the floor, he being Charles. So that in their estimation, they being law enforcement, that occurred because he was laying on the floor when he was shot. She's trying to establish that wound could have been caused by way of him wearing a very durable fabric like bamboo, and that caused the shored wound, which means that he wasn't necessarily laying on the floor in a prone position.
When
when
I
he was
looked it up
shot.
yesterday, it did say that clothing or a hard surface can cause a shored wound.
Yeah, I mean, he testified, but so the cop's testimony was that it had to be very, very tight fitting clothing.
I just don't know that that's. I would think if it's a more thicker fabric, it would.
Yeah, I mean, look, if it's bamboo shirt versus bullet wins.
Yeah, right.
So, as far as that goes, but they're specifically talking about the fact because they're relying on the shored wound aspect to prove the
That he was
fact
laying
that
down.
he was laying on the ground, that he wasn't up still fighting, that he was clearly, not of any kind of threat to Alex Cox at the time he was shot the second time. All right.
Are you
So that's,
sure? Are you?
I'm pretty sure. I don't think Lori is though.
I'm pretty sure he was on the
And
ground for
then,
a second.
can you
Yeah,
tell
I'm
me,
pretty sure
Detective,
you're
what
right.
happened to my husband's shirt? Do you know where it is now?
It is in evidence, as far as I'm aware.
And it's, when you looked at it, where was it?
The last I physically saw that shirt was when I handed it off to a crime scene tech to put into a drying cage with the instructions, once it was dry, to have it moved into the property facility.
And so did you see it after it was in the property facility?
No, ma'am, I have not.
So you saw it before it was dried, is that correct?
While it was wet from the medical examiner's office, yes.
And that's when you examined it?
I had seen it at the scene as well.
And
All
then,
right, I turned off the ads, y'all. So
did you ever examine it?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so you saw it twice.
That's fair.
Okay.
You don't
So
know
you
how
didn't
damn
test it
thick
for
that
anything?
bamboo was, mister.
I did not.
Did anyone test it for anything?
I
that
do
you're
not
aware
know.
of? That you're aware of?
I do not know.
So you're not aware of it?
Correct. I do not know if anybody else tested it.
Okay.
Look, she's fair. She's trying to get him to say you're unaware of any further testing. And he like was fighting on that little,
yeah, and let's just be clear, there is absolutely not only a bullet casing, but there is a hole in the floor
right.
where the
Where the
bullet
blood
would-
was. Where the blood was.
Right, the blood was pooling
Right.
into the hole in the floor
Right.
caused
That
by the
that
bullet.
right there. Oh, and babe, something you missed that I was like, oh man, this is it, done. And then I'll tell you who blew me up. But they were showing pictures of Alex's bag and of the gun case closed inside the bag. And I was like, oh, what? Wait a minute. Didn't she say he was asleep in bed, was startled by the noise, and ran out with the gun? How come his gun case is all tucked away neat in his bag? I'm like, that's it. He's freaking done. Boom. Premeditated. And I think it was either whoever's clever or what's clever. I think there's like two people with clever in the name. Was like, well, maybe he had it next to his bed at night. Some people do that. And I was like, well, I guess so. Some people do that, but there are kids in the house. So I
Yeah.
guess he could have had it there, but I was all about it for about 2 seconds.
You were all about it for about 2 seconds. All right, let's keep going.
Was the wood floor tested for any fragments of the projectile?
It was actually seized, so it was not tested.
And what does seized mean?
We cut it out of the floor and kept it.
But didn't
Right,
test
and
it.
then was it tested after it was seized?
No, ma'am.
Well,
So the wood floor
what
plank that
that
was
was.
taken from my residence was never tested for any fragments of the projectile?
The projectile was intact, minus a deformity to it.
Okay. But there wasn't any reason, are you saying there was no reason to
Don't
test
ask
it?
that, Lori.
There had been no implication or indication that there was a request for it to be tested.
And you wouldn't do that to see if the projectile actually hit the floor?
No, ma'am. All the other circumstances and information that led up to that decision to seize the floor, everything appeared that it was going to be related to the actual bullet that passed through your husband's body and struck the floor.
So why'd you seize it if you didn't test
Wouldn't
it?
testing the floor actually be the easiest way to be sure that the bullet hit the floor?
Not necessarily would it leave anything behind. Like I said, the bullet was a full metal jacket. It was still intact.
Mhm.
There had been a significant amount of blood that had pooled in it. I do not know if there would be residue left behind in it for testing.
Fair. Okay.
There. Okay.
Was the projectile tested for any marks from the floor?
No, ma'am.
Don't ask another question about that. Just leave it.
Were you aware that this was a rental house that we lived in?
I believe I'd heard that.
Okay. Were you aware that we had only lived there for about 3 weeks prior to this incident?
I knew it was a short time period, but I did not know the actual duration.
Did you know that? You know that by the time you wrote this report, right?
I don't recall knowing the exact time frame that you had lived there.
Okay. So the defect in the floor of the rental house that we lived in could have already been there before this incident. Is that correct?
Not in my opinion, no.
But it could have.
An objection, Your Honor, asked and answered.
Sustained.
So of all the divots that we saw yesterday in the pictures on the floor, it could not have been there beforehand?
And again, asked and answered.
No, it's different.
Um,
Give it to her.
I'll let him answer. Go ahead.
The divots I believe you're referring to were extremely smaller than the actual defect, which was still relatively fresh and not sealed like the other divots were.
Okay, can we see?
Ooh, she's going to rely on some exhibits.
These were previously published, so I can use them, right?
Yeah.
Can we look at
Just
these?
refer to the exhibit number, please.
Okay. Just put it on. Detective, can you see that? I can't see that.
Refer to the exhibit number, he said.
So in Exhibit 57,
There you go.
Detective,
I'm looking.
this, where my pin is pointing,
Ooh,
Yes, ma'am?
yeah, Mandy.
that's the defect that you're referring to where the bullet struck. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am?
Okay. And these defects were already previously at the residence. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am?
That's it.
And do
Don't
they look that much significantly different than
see.
that?
Don't ask him that.
Yes, they do.
See? What?
What do you think the measurement difference in that is, in your professional opinion?
There is no scale in this photograph. It would be difficult for me to give you an estimate.
So you don't even know, do you?
So in your estimation, this defect is much larger than this defect. Is that correct?
The second defect you're pointing to appears to be wood grain indentations. The other is an actual defect in the board.
Okay.
We have eyes, sir.
But
Is she-
this
is she
defect,
trying
this
to say
piece
that
of
the
wood that was
bullet
cut
hole-
out was not tested. Is that
She's
correct?
trying to say there were other
Again,
divots in the
asked and
ground.
answered.
Wait,
Technically correct, but
I'm not talking about other defects in the like the defect. When they use the word defect, they're talking about a bullet hole.
That's what they're talking about. But she's saying there were other defects in the damn wood that looked basically the same.
Is a bullet hole?
I mean, when she put her little pen there, it was like this little thing and that little thing. When they put it up yesterday, it looked pretty big. I'll tell you.
I mean, it looked like a bullet hole.
right. But right there, when she was doing like the circle, this one here and this one there,
I
they
don't
looked-
think either of those were the bullet hole.
one of them was.
What?
Yes.
What?
Go back. You missed it. She did.
What?
He said one is the defect from the bullet, and that other thing's not a defect. It's the wood grain.
Spooks.
That's still pretty boring.
Super boring.
We're doing what we can though, liven it up.
Yeah, we do what we can to liven it up. All right, let me see.
mm.
Did I go too far back?
You gotta wait till you see her little pen moving around.
Where's her little
Right
pen?
there. Right here.
what?
Right here. Right here. Right here.
What?
She's about to do it.
I feel like I'm going too far ahead now.
Yes, you are. I told you were there.
Say what?
Jesus. Just wait till you see her stick the picture up. You're fast forwarding now, right?
I'm blooping backwards.
No, you're long past it.
I know. So wouldn't I have to go backwards?
Whatever you want to call it. Yeah.
I'd have
Fast-
to rewind.
No, you need to fast forward. You have passed it.
Oh, wait.
There it is.
is. There it is. See, that was rewinding. Okay. All right.
I thought you passed it.
The other is an actual defect in
Which
the
one's
board.
supposed to be?
Oh, Go back
Okay.
No,
again.
that's he's saying one is an actual defect in the board.
No, rewind it.
All right.
And now.
Okay.
There. So in Exhibit 57, Detective,
I'm looking.
this, where my pin is pointing,
Yes, ma'am?
that's the defect that you're referring to where the bullet struck. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am?
Okay.
See?
And
Hmm.
these defects were already previously at the residence. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am?
And do they look that much significantly different than
And that's
that?
why I said she shouldn't have asked another
Yes, they
question.
do.
She should have just left it.
What do you think the measurement difference in that is, in your professional opinion?
There is no scale in this photograph. It would be difficult for me to give you an estimate.
So in your estimation, this defect is much larger than this defect. Is that correct?
The second defect you're pointing to appears to be wood grain indentations. The other is an actual defect in the board.
Okay. Thank you. But this defect, this piece of wood that was cut out was not tested. Is that correct?
Again, asked and answered.
Technically correct, but I'll let him answer.
Correct. To my knowledge, it was not tested.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Lori Vallow.
So do you know, Detective, for a fact, that the defect on my wood floor was caused by the second bullet?
And again, I'm going to object to asked and answered.
Sustained.
When we looked at the projectiles yesterday, the one from the baseboard clearly had white paint on it from the baseboard. Is that correct?
Baseboard or the drywall, perhaps.
Okay, but we all saw the white paint. Is that correct?
There was a white marking on it.
That was
Was that tested for the white paint?
that was me being
No, ma'am.
Lori.
Why not?
There was no decision made to have it tested.
Because it was logical that it was in the baseboard where the baseboard was painted white, right?
It was very clear that it had passed through your husband and lodged in the baseboard. And upon recovery, there was no deformation to it, indicating that it was a straight-on impact or relatively close so that it embedded itself into the baseboard.
Correct. So it wasn't tested because it really didn't need to be, in your opinion.
Correct.
Okay. That's fair.
I'm allowed to say that.
Next, we looked at the
That's
projectile
a habit.
that,
It's
according
hard
to you,
know.
made the defect in my wood floor. Is that correct?
I don't understand your question. Next, we look at it, but I don't see anything.
Oh, we saw the projectile. Can I find out what exhibit that was?
Your paralegal has all those photographs.
Can we use the actual
Yeah.
exhibit?
She can approach and
Okay.
I thought it was a rental
What? It was.
house.
It was.
Well, then technically it's not her wood floor.
I mean, she likes to say, my husband, my house, my
Yes.
wood.
My rules.
The paralegal's a rental man. He says, yeah, it's. I mean,
Oh, welcome, little Miss Red Velvet. Thanks for popping in. We loved having Peter.
yes.
Possession is 9/10 of the law. It's true, Christine.
I believe it's a smaller.
Now. That's hi. Little Miss. Got her hairdo.
She got her hairdo.
Do you want her to hand that to the witness?
What's up, Sam Poop?
Not gonna lie, I would like to stand up there and
What's
defend
up,
a
Daisy?
case.
Is that 239?
Go to jail to do
I
so.
blooped.
Detective, for the record, you're looking at
Good blooping.
Exhibit 239, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And is that the projectile that we are talking about that you claimed made the divot in my wood floor?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So was that projectile was not tested, is that correct?
Your Honor,
Is that what
I'm
you
going to
said?
object to asked and answered
All right, she's laying foundation.
at least 3 times.
Sustained.
Ugh.
Does that projectile look pristine to you?
No, ma'am. As I've previously testified, it is slightly deformed.
What side is it deformed on? What part about it is deformed?
The back end, the heel area is compressed a little bit so that it's now oval as opposed to circular.
And that would indicate what?
That it
That would
smacked into the
indicate that
ground.
as the bullet struck something firm on its side, it compressed, and then it continued on moving.
Okay. So that's what you mean by a shored wound. It hit up against something. Is that correct?
The terminology as it's been described to me is it's the skin is against a firm surface. So in this particular case, the floor would be the firm surface. So as it's entering or exiting your husband and starting to try to enter the floor is forcing the bullet to kind of ricochet, but the body's still keeping it in place. So it's now deforming a little bit and it's still expending its energy to escape from underneath the body.
Okay. And if my husband was in fact laying on the floor, how did it get out from under his body? Wouldn't it have gotten stuck under? That's my question. Just,
Just what?
That's a good question.
Could
But
you
he said
explain
it
that to me?
ricocheted, I guess.
I think I just did.
Right.
So the bullet is a full metal jacket. It still has its energy. Until it starts striking things to cause resistance to it to slow it down, it's going to expend its energy at a normal rate. I think I just lost the mic. I'm not sure.
No, you're good, buddy.
Okay. When it
We got
starts
you.
striking firm objects, then it'll start bleeding the energy away. And in this particular case, as it's exiting your husband's body, it's impacting bone, it's impacting the flesh that's compressed against the floor, and it's impacting the floor now. So there is going to be a lot of resistance against that. Now, where it exited, it's still not free to just fly like the one that went through his chest and out the back. It's still semi-trapped between your husband's body and the floor. So
Was
that's
it?
going to cause even more energy drain until it comes to rest.
But was it?
and
That's her
how
point.
far away from my husband's shoulder was that bullet fragment found? The projectile, I guess.
When it was found, I don't know the exact measurement away from
Really?
it. I
What?
would say a foot or more, maybe.
Mm.
Okay, so that's what you're talking about the energy. It still had energy to keep moving. Is that
Yes.
correct?
It had enough to escape from being under the body.
Okay.
I guess that's it depend on because it's in the shoulder, so it's not like, like if it was the back, I'd agree with her. Like, well, how the hell did the bullet get out a foot away? But with the shoulder, there's some.
Well, where in the shoulder is
because
the
of
exit wound? High up?
What you saw
I don't
at the
know.
scene, you state in your report that it was your suspicion that that's what had happened, was that my husband was supine on the floor. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So was
What happened was,
But yet you still thought it was self-defense. So what the hell?
it your suspicion from the start of this investigation that led you to not confirm any other alternative?
What other alternative, ma'am? My job was to collect the information and put it together with the information that was being collected in the interviews. The information from the interviews did not completely match everything that I had learned at the scene.
Then why wasn't there an arrest made?
Let's see. You did not test the wood floor, is that correct?
I'm going to object again to asked and answered multiple times.
Sustained.
You did not test the projectile, is that correct?
I'm going to again object to asked and answered multiple times, and I'm going to move to start striking every question.
Sustained.
You did not investigate my husband's shirt.
And object again to asked and answered multiple times.
Sustained.
Did you call Aloha, Carolina, and ask them about the fabric of my husband's shirt?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So would it be fair to say that you made an assumption early on and only investigated the things that supported that assumption?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Remember in your report where you stated that the bullet strike to the abdomen had an upward trajectory, passing through the left lung before exiting near the left shoulder?
Yes.
Okay. Could that upward trajectory have been caused by my husband falling backwards and the bullet hitting the abdomen and going upwards and exiting his shoulder as he hit the floor?
No, not in my opinion.
Okay. Detective Coons, on July 11th, 2019, were you at the Chandler Police Department during my interview?
No, ma'am.
Were you there that morning when we were brought into the Chandler Police Department at all?
No, ma'am. I was at the scene.
Okay. I thought you didn't get to the scene until 11:45.
No, that was when we actually obtained the search warrant. It was about a little after 11:45. I was
Okay.
already at the scene shortly after 9 o'clock.
Okay. Did you see the injury on the back of Alex's head with your own eyes?
I did not take a close look at it. I saw the paper towel that he was holding against his head.
But you did not see the wound itself?
No.
Okay.
And you don't know if there was ice in that
Are you
paper towel.
aware if Alex's hands were swabbed for gunshot residue?
There would have been no reason to swab for gunshot residue.
Why is that?
He had already stated that he was the shooter.
He had stated it?
To my knowledge, that's how the information was provided to me.
Okay. Are you aware if my hands were swabbed for gunshot residue?
I am not.
Okay. Are you aware if my daughter's hands were swabbed for gunshot residue?
I am not.
Do you know for a fact that Alex shot the gun in question?
Based on the information provided, that is what I have, yes.
Do you know that for a fact?
Just with the information that's been provided, I can't tell you one way or another if there's another shooter because the evidence does not show that there was.
Okay. So all you really know for sure, after your 5 years of investigation, is that my husband was shot 2 times, 1 by that particular gun, 2 with those particular bullets, at my residence, and that he passed away as a result of that. Would that be correct?
Oversimplified, there is a lot more information that is available to us for that.
Is that correct? Is that question correct?
Those are some known facts, yes, but that is not all we know.
So you can't really tell me for sure who shot him, can you?
Well, as we've established, I was not present when it happened. I can only go with the facts of what people have said and what the evidence shows.
Okay. You don't really know what time he was shot, do you?
Actually, no, I don't.
Okay. You don't really know if he was falling back or lying supine on the floor, do you?
Yes, I do.
You don't really know what time my husband actually passed away, do you?
No, ma'am, I don't.
Thank you. No more questions.
Sometime after your brother
All right,
shot him.
redirect.
Your Honor, I still have stuff that she
You
gave.
can pass those to, let's have your paralegal get the report that you gave him, but I'll take exhibit 239, is it?
I mean, I don't know. They're allowed to get in what Alex said when they want to get in what Alex said.
Lori's feeling all the feels this morning, huh? She's feeling
She's
feisty,
sucking,
babe.
though. She's sucking in every way.
I mean, you know why?
The photos, they're over
She
there.
sucks.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, little miss, this is strictly
All right,
conspiracy.
Detective, I know we started yesterday, so I'm going to kind of go back
Let's
through
count
a
how many
few
times
different
she
areas,
asks
all
and
right?
answers.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't know why Lori doesn't get hip to that.
In terms of just understanding your role working with crime scene techs, you had testified yesterday that they are often the ones who actually pick up the item of evidence and put it in a bag, correct?
Frequently, yes.
Are you there observing them as they do that?
Yes.
You're not just wandering around outside drinking a coffee while they're
I mean,
processing the
this is what
house?
she
No, ma'am.
does. She
So
focuses
you,
on
every
bullshit
item that
points
we
Lori
brought
made.
in is something that you observed.
Well, in
You were
fairness,
there as
I
they were
did have
documented and
coffee and a
collected.
donut while we
Correct.
were waiting for
And
the
some
And a
of
lunch.
them, like
chocolate
the gun,
milkshake.
you actually had to make safe before it could be collected.
Actually, Detective Duncan is the one that made it safe, but I was present for those things.
Yeah, I mean, I'd rather hear Lori too, but that's just because I want to watch her like head spontaneously combust while she's like cross-examining somebody. I'm like waiting for like watching Lori is like, you know, like watching a car crash as you're driving by that's on fire that you're waiting for it to explode. Like the prosecutor's just, meh. Lori, we all want to watch because it's insane that she's up there. You know what
Doing
I
good,
mean?
Mandy. Doing great work.
Mandy, great work.
You were asked about the backyard being searched.
She
When
might have
you
been trying to
other
imply that it was
people searching the
Tylee.
house, and I think you'd said it was a collaborative event. If someone observes something, do they bring it to your attention as the scene agent?
Yes, if I'm asking somebody to do a search for me to help out with a larger area, it is their responsibility to bring it forward to me if they discover something that they think is important.
And if they see something, you would then go out and observe it yourself?
Yes.
We had talked about the gun yesterday and the ejection port. See if this will be visible here. What do we see right here?
So that is the ejection port.
So when we're talking about how this, how a semi-automatic gun works, and you were talking about the ejection to the right, is that in this gun indicated by the opening where that ejection port is, the side that it's on of the gun?
The opening is part of how it'll indicate where it ejects. Also the extractor, which is a small lever behind the ejection port, is what grabs the casing to pull it out. And internally, there's going to be an ejector that it's usually a small pinpoint that kicks it, and the springs basically flip it out.
So all of that was what made you understand which way the casings would have ejected out of this gun.
I thought
Yes.
al dente was a
Now, you
large.
told us that the actual.
dente is
that every
noodles,
gun can be
like
slightly
being
different if
hard.
it's more upward, more outward,
Al
and more
dente.
unaware for this gun.
Oh,
what that
I didn't. I
ejection
thought you said
would be.
al
Correct.
dente.
Huh?
Nothing. Ignore me.
Al dente?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go back to your
It's
diagram.
like you're talking about noodles being firm. That's what she said.
Are you able to, by looking at the measurements that you took, give us an estimate of the distance between those two casings that you have listed here as 9 and 10?
My estimation would be a couple feet.
Allie doesn't do pasta anymore.
And
No,
I guess, would your
She will eat a
measurements,
meatball,
did you
though.
take measurements of
actually-
where those were?
I was actually drinking
Yeah,
my
I took
Absolutely.
Starbucks.
measurements
Ball.
from the reference points to triangulate it, but I did not measure distance between each object to the other objects.
Well, that makes shit
So the
difficult to
measurements that we
recreate.
see, I'm going to take it out of here. On the second page of your report, are
She
those
did have to have
triangulations that you're talking about?
Yes, ma'am.
In London with
So
some
are
pasta
we
she
able to
loved.
extrapolate from this any distance
Did I have
between
pasta in
those
London?
two, or we
Yeah.
are left with?
Don't you remember he had
what
to
you
go
recall
back
at this
there a
point?
second time?
You're
Oh.
left with what I recall, but I also,
Me and
on my
Scarlett, me and
diagram, I
King,
put
get
a
off.
reference line.
And I didn't get it
or a
without the
dimension
noodles. I
line.
thought I got it without the noodles.
It's near
You got it with
the
the noodles.
north-south indicator, and that helps
Mandy knows.
somebody who's looking at it get an idea of what a measurement might be in the diagram.
Okay. And is that this line up here?
It wasn't so much
Correct.
she had the pasta, it's that she wouldn't come to where we wanted to eat. She's like, I'm going to get the pasta.
I think I
delicious.
got it without the
You
actual
said it was
pasta.
delicious.
Right, but I
There was a
don't
lot
think
of
I got the
questions
noodles.
about, where the shooter
I did what I
might have
usually do.
been at the
Get the
time
same
when
dish
this
without the noodles.
shooting occurred.
I think that's when Scarlett and I ended up at that like pancake spot.
Yeah,
Start with 19 while I look for a different perspective. But in this house, you have talked about a rounded wall. Can you tell us where you're talking about for that? And I'm going to put up 14.
he's putting me to sleep.
So on 14, what is this rounded wall that you're talking about when you're referring to the location or potential location? Let me say the general location of the shooter.
So the rounded wall is at the south end of the main room that we're in, where the body's at.
Oh my God.
Hey, brought up
hey,
here.
there's Pete.
What's serious?
And
Sorry,
these
I did that
things that
thing
to you
again.
seem outside the LDS
At least it was
religion.
Peter.
Why do you keep talking to him?
What is this we're looking at?
What do you mean?
Well, he was
Well, we
very
switched
charming
witnesses
and
here.
kind and
Oh,
funny
this is
and
probably
very
on
clever.
real time.
My Lord.
Oopsies. They really screwed me there.
It's like a slight semicircular.
Oh my God, that was
edge
perfect.
as it exits towards
Yes,
the
that was. I'm
That
very
was
towards the
impressed.
top
amazing.
right.
Nothing
That
good.
was some real tech wizardry right there. I don't even know how I did that. Magic.
Was there anything about that pattern itself, both the depth, the freshness, the location of it?
I almost want to just
that
fast forward to this
made
Nancy
you
Joe
feel
Should I
hangout.
take
consistent
it
with
up
a
to
bullet strike?
1.25?
Yes, I thought that was
All
the
of
whole
those
point of
factors
being
help make
behind
it,
time.
consistent with it, not to mention the location of
Yeah, it is. But like, I was shocked at how quickly we caught up to real time yesterday. I'm like,
All right,
why
well,
does it
let's
keep
get through this
switching
guy.
back to
'Cause that
normal?
next woman, she looks like an Arizona
She's
all
gonna
involved
cause-
in the mix thing.
Yeah.
A
She knows
layman.
some shit. She knows some shit. We go get some dirt.
the projectile that was in close proximity to this defect.
The word on the street is that Lori was a hooer.
It's my understanding that they can play a portion of Alex's. I thought it was Alex's interview on the scene. I don't know which one it was, but there is a part of his interview, nothing with Tylee's interview. And I don't think that she could play hers. Oh, sorry. Her interview, they clearly don't want to put on. And I think she can't just she's got to testify if she wants to say something.
Yeah. That's her big issue.
So let's talk a little bit about those projectiles. I'm putting exhibit 40 up here.
I think we take
Do
a
we
vote
see the
who wants to
projectile
skip
over
the
here
rest of
next
this
to
guy's
Charles Vallow?
cross or redirect.
Now, were you aware when you were given this scene?
Wait, you want to take a vote on whether we should?
Yeah, just blip
What?
right past and get to this Nancy
But then
Joe.
we're like losing all that time we waited.
Ugh.
Like the whole point in waiting to start was so that we had a little bit of buffer. Like we need the
All right,
buffer.
then put it at everyone's saying
Oh my
skip.
God, everybody's saying
Skip,
skip. Oh
skip.
my God, you
Just
guys.
do it. He's saying all the same stuff.
All right, I'll give a few bloops. Bloop, 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 bloop,
Can
bloop,
I
bloop,
ask
bloop,
you
bloop.
one more question?
Bobby, the boy just ain't right. All right, let's see where we're at now. It's probably exciting now.
The shooting, how it occurred. When you
She
got to
should
the
have just
scene,
said nothing. She
you were
had no
given
redirect.
a basic briefing, right?
Yes.
How do you start looking
Do an
No,
ovation.
it's like that,
Make
that
a
thing where she
clear-
gives air to
Inward-
Lori's bullshit
flexing.
when she like redirects. The judge's hair jelly's looking pretty good today. though.
All right.
All right,
Yay.
here we go. Here we go.
Bob's got a bunch of women telling him what to
Can you
do.
please introduce yourself to the jury?
I mean, you
Hi,
guys
my name's
really,
Nancy Jo Hancock.
really bullied me there.
And
Wait,
so
I was
Nancy Jo,
trying to
I do.
highlight
how
Shaboobi's.
old are you?
Where'd it go?
I was here
61.
for it, though.
And do you currently work?
I'm
No,
self-employed
this one.
Do you live here in Arizona?
in Mesa, yes.
You born and raised here?
Born and raised here.
Do you have your own children?
5,
Do you have grandchildren?
15,
What?
Busy person.
yes.
Busy
I'm going
person.
to direct you to a person by the name of Charles Vallow. Did you ever meet a person by that name?
I did.
How did you meet him?
I'm divorced. I was on
Oh,
an
back down to
LDS dating site.
1.25.
And when new members join, it tells you this is someone new. And he sent me a message and we began messaging.
Oh, this is the girl he was dating.
Initially, did you just talk to him through, do you talk through the website? How does that work?
Through the website at first,
How
and then he
is
asked
the
for my phone
church
number, and then we were
with
texting and talking.
dating a married
on
man?
Phone as well.
Do you recall approximately when you met him?
It was early July.
Oh, I can't
I
wait for
believe
this
the
frost.
3rd.
Oh, it's gonna be tasty.
And
Mm.
you
Dirt.
said you guys would text. Was this,
Just the way
A
Lori's
lot.
got to be conscious the way she treats her.
what's a lot to you?
Charles was a texter and a talker, and he was good at banter, and there were hundreds of texts by the time I had met him
You said you talked on the phone with him as well?
for hours,
Did you have a conversation with
right.
him once that lasted almost 3 hours?
probably more than one, yes.
Um,
You did. You
When
heard
you
15
met
millions.
Charles in early July, did you know he was still married?
He told me he was in the process of a divorce.
Did you know whether or not he was living with
Was he?
his wife at that time?
He was in Houston. His soon-to-be ex-wife was here. When he came to Arizona, he was meeting a realtor to
She's gonna be,
find
was
a
a
place to
divorce
live when he
filed?
was here as well.
She can't do any of that because she was having her
So when
affair.
you're first meeting him, he's out of state, but he has a connection here to Arizona, so you keep talking to him?
Correct.
All right.
As you guys are talking and texting, did you eventually have enough interest that you decided you wanted to meet him?
Yeah.
Did you know what Charles did for a living?
Life insurance and something with money. I try not to have that be the focus when I'm getting to know somebody so that I get to know them for them and not what they do for a living.
Okay, so you didn't really care too much about
No.
what his job
Yep,
was?
Tay.
No.
Did you know he traveled a lot for work?
Yes.
As you and Charles are talking and texting, just sort of yes
Definitely.
or no, can you tell us, did he get very detailed about his life with you?
Is Lori, I'm going to do a poll. Is Lori going to cross-examine this woman to see if is she going to ask her if Charles ever sent her a dick pic? What do you think?
I think she might ask questions about if he did anything weird, like Ned-like.
So were you sleeping with my husband?
Right.
Did my husband ever send you a dick pic?
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Were you sexting with my husband?
Did you know if Charles had children?
Yes.
Just yes or no again, did you talk to him about his wife specifically?
A lot.
Did he mention his wife by name?
Yes.
What did you believe his wife's name was?
Come on, that is an issue not in
Have
dispute.
you ever met Lori Vallow?
No.
She has said my husband 100 times. Do you know who his wife was?
Again,
And
just
what
sort of
is
yes
that
or no. Did
person's name?
Charles talk to you about why?
Objection. Leading. Objection.
I haven't heard the question yet. Go ahead.
So just yes or no, did Charles talk to you about why he
Leading
was
is yes or no.
No, leading is a question that suggests the answer. So she can answer yes or no.
So again, just yes or no, did Charles talk to you about why he was separated from his wife?
Yes.
Based upon your discussions, how long did you think there had been issues
Objection
going
calls
on
for hearsay.
between Charles and his wife?
Objection calls for hearsay.
For several months, but more intensely since the beginning of that year was 2019. So since the beginning of that year.
What? So her lawyer can't advise her at all? What in the actual fuck?
You told us that Charles talked to you let me ask you, yes or no, did he talk to you in great detail about his relationship with Lori Vallow?
Yes.
You told us you met on an LDS dating site, right?
Correct.
So are you a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints?
I am.
Was there anything that you were hearing that you thought were outside of your beliefs?
Objection. Oh my God.
As
She doesn't know
Charles
when to
was
object,
telling
eh?
you these things about his wife, can you tell us his demeanor? What his voice was like, what his attitude was
Did he
like? as
sound
was
like a
talking about
demon?
that?
I
Did he
just
tell you
remember
to call him
thinking that
Ned?
he was strangely calm and still kind towards Lori, even through what they were going through.
You told us you were aware he had a child. Did you know where that child lived, who the child lived with?
Yes.
Who was that?
He was living with Lori at that time.
You have.
He had older children as well, but the young one was living with Lori.
You have these conversations with Charles about his wife and these things that to you seem outside the LDS religion.
Objection calls for hearsay.
Why do you keep talking to him?
Well, he was very charming and kind and funny and very clever, really good banter.
Allie, we had a request for explaining what exactly hearsay is.
Hearsay.
Why that's hearsay.
Because so it's one thing when they do this workaround with the cops where they say, all right, and you interviewed Bob and you got details from Bob on what happened that night and who he believed was involved, and what did you do next? Next, I went to question Allison Mata, which by reference makes you think, okay, Bob said something about Allison Mata, but that's not what she's doing here. She's saying, based on what he said to you, were you hearing things outside the LDS religion? So literally they're asking her to say what it is he said to her. So that is hearsay. That is her answer is based on hearsay. So when I say
Hearsay
objection,
is an out of court statement being offered where
for
the truth of the matter is asserted.
Right. So anything said outside of court being offered for the truth. So if he said something to her that was outside the typical LDS beliefs, then you're accepting what he said to be true because you're asking her, did you hear things that were outside of the LDS beliefs? And when she asks, so you talked about when the prosecutor says you talked to Charles about his wife and how long they were separated, right? Yes. And based on that, how long do you believe they were separated? So that is not the same as saying, and what did you do next? That's literally asking her to provide an answer that relies on hearsay information that she received out of court from somebody else. So I'm surprised, to tell you the truth, that the judge is letting her get away with something so blatant just because Lori's not objecting. And I know we said going in, he's not going to do her any favors.
I mean,
But
he can't. Like if
yeah,
she doesn't know when to object, that's on her.
yeah, I
It's
know.
like I mean, he
Just
tried to tell
it's dirty
her.
pool. It's dirty pool.
You mean by the prosecutor?
Yeah,
I
they know
mean,
damn well they can't get that in the evidence that way
well, unless they do,
unless they have a pro se defendant.
right? You know, and that's on Lori.
I just don't know.
It's the same shit where Lori was complaining about not getting things in a timely fashion, not being able to get experts, blah 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 blah, and the judge is like, look, it's like I have a remedy for you, but that requires that you waive your speedy trial demand. You want a speedy trial, you're going to get your speedy trial. Like I mean, like we cannot delay this because otherwise you walk, and we're not letting
She
you.
also should have objected to relevance about why she stayed with Charles. How in the hell is that relevant? Because of good banter. He's really good in bed.
The
He's
dick
very
pics.
charming.
It's always about the dick pics.
He sent good pics.
A lot of craziness going on around him, but he seemed pretty awesome.
Now, you guys had just known each other for a few days. Did you think you and Charles were exclusive?
Heavens no.
So would you be surprised to learn that he was talking to other people on other websites?
Not at all.
Did he in fact share some of that with you?
He did. He shared some pictures of some woman
Whoa.
that had sent him that were
Whoa.
quite scanty, and then proceeded to ask him
Scanty.
for money, and thought how funny that was, that that's what people were doing online.
Did you eventually meet Charles in person?
I did.
And how many times did you get to meet him in person?
Just once.
What day was that?
He was flying in from Houston, and we had arranged to go to dinner that night. His plane was delayed, and so I met him that night on the 10th of July.
July 10th, was that 2019?
Correct.
And
I
was
don't even
that
know the
then
point
here
of
in
this
Arizona
witness.
that you met?
It was.
You said that you had original plans to meet and they got pushed back?
Yeah, his plane was delayed, so we met a little later than we were supposed to.
Where did you guys meet? What did you do?
At the Keg restaurant by Santan Mall, and we ate, but we talked until the restaurant closed. We were the last people there.
This woman reminds
Shut the
me of
place
Linda.
down.
We did. I finally looked
That's
around and I
why.
realized that we were the only ones
Objection
there, and
relevance.
told him we probably should leave, and then we went outside and talked by my truck for another 45 minutes or so.
Based upon everything you had heard,
Wow, her lawyer really
was
doesn't.
Charles
What?
coming in to see you? Or
What?
was there some other reason he was in Arizona?
Nope.
Charles
Objection.
was ecstatic to see JJ.
There
He
you go.
was coming to see JJ.
That's
So excited to take him to school
she
the next
only
morning.
knows because of hearsay.
He was also coming to look for a place to live. He had an appointment to meet a realtor friend after he had taken JJ to school. And then he was also supposed to
Objection,
meet
lack
with
of personal knowledge.
Lori's brother, Adam.
Wow.
So you and Charles have this evening on the 10th. Were you going to meet again?
Yeah, we were supposed to meet up in the late afternoon after he got through with the things that I just said.
So did you have a set time for the next
No.
day? Can you describe Charles? Was he a fit man? What was his size?
Very fit and into physical fitness. And while we were talking, I know that he was swimming. I got to go to the gym, and yeah, very, very fit, strong.
When you were talking with
She didn't
Charles
see him
on
swim.
July 10th,
That's hearsay.
that evening, let me ask first, do you recall about what time you ended up meeting him?
It was around 7. I got there first, and
Pause it a sec, babe.
but it was
Sure.
right around 7, between 7 and 7:15, I'd say.
And do you recall about how long you guys?
So when the first Chandler officer was on the stand, Lori asked him about something he wrote in his report, and then they were like, nope, hearsay, hearsay, hearsay. Then she asked if who told him something. She was trying to kind of get at like what Alex had said, and the fact that he said he was hit in the head by the bat by Charles. And the judge, she asked the question, and then the judge said, you can answer if if your answer is not based on hearsay. So, and I don't remember if there was an objection pending at the time or if the judge just instructed it on his own. So,
Yeah, I
but
don't know.
I don't know if you guys remember that, but that's the kind of thing where they know when someone's asking a question that relies on hearsay. Now, had she gone swimming with him, that would be different. But him saying, I'm going to go swimming, I'm going to the gym, that's all based on hearsay.
Can I fire it up?
Yeah.
You guys were together until you finally
Well, the
left.
restaurant closed at 10 and they were closed and no one else was
Why isn't
there.
that
So it was
thing
after that
scrolling?
that we left. And then, like I said, we stood by my truck and talked for another half hour, 45 minutes after that.
Wow.
Relevance.
So a later evening.
Yes.
Can you tell us, you said that you understood he was going to go see his son. What was his demeanor about with regards to JJ and seeing his son?
Like a kid on Christmas morning. He was very excited to see JJ.
She could say that.
You had talked about his demeanor when he would talk about his wife. On that evening or ever, did you ever hear him swear or use derogatory names or anything like that towards Lori Vallow?
I was surprised with the details that he was describing to me, how kindly he still spoke about Lori, and his hope was that she would be a great mom for JJ.
Did that stand out to you?
A lot.
Why?
Objection, relevance.
Most men that you date are not
This is
nearly
just
so kind about their ex and
like just
describe
all
them in more derogatory ways, and they'll speak
credibility
so
of
kindly. And
the victim.
I
Like,
remember just thinking how odd in a good way it was that he was not speaking in a derogatory way about Lori.
So that made an impression on you.
It did.
During any of your conversations with Charles, did you ever learn that he had a life insurance policy?
I did.
objection, calls for hearsay.
As you are talking, did Charles really just tell you a lot about his life?
A lot
Objection.
about his life.
Leading.
Yes.
Were you almost surprised at the amount of detail of his life that you learned?
Yeah.
Did you understand
Mhm.
whether or not any changes had been made by Charles to the life insurance policy?
He told me that he had changed his beneficiary to his
Objection.
sister Kay. And as he was proceeding to tell me some of the things that were going on, I suggested to him that maybe he should let Lori know that he had changed
Objection,
the
hearsay.
beneficiary on his life insurance to Kay.
Why would you tell him that?
Because of the things that he was describing to me and his concerns for his safety and
Wow.
the thought that money would come into play.
Wow. Maybe this was
Do you recall where you were when you made that suggestion to Charles?
We were sitting at dinner at the Keg.
So this is on July 10th.
Correct.
What was his demeanor like when you told him that?
He kind of chuckled and said that he probably should.
hearsay.
Said that was a good idea.
Hearsay.
You told us that you don't know Lori Vallow, correct?
I do not.
Would it be fair to say that you sort of have no beef in this case?
I
Yeah.
have no beef in this case.
She allegedly murdered
Know
my
any of
dating guy.
Charles's family
My
back
dating
then?
guy, my guy pal.
Any
Right.
of Lori Vallow's family back
My-
then?
No.
My guy friend.
Um, When you, I guess, left Charles after talking in the parking lot that evening, you told us that you had sort of unformalized plans to see Charles the next day.
Correct.
Was there like someone would call someone, or how was that supposed to go?
He just said that he needed to do the things that I said have a morning with JJ, find a place to live, meet up with Lori's brother Adam, and, then we would meet up somewhere for a late lunch or something.
Did you ever try to reach him on July 11th of 2019?
I did.
Did you try texting him ever?
Around 11-ish in the morning, I texted him and asked how his morning with JJ had been.
Did you get a response back?
I did not.
Did you try calling him?
A couple hours later, I called once, yes.
Did you get a call back?
I did not.
What were
Do
you
you know
thinking
why?
when you didn't hear from Charles after you spent this night?
I was
Objection, relevance.
puzzled how I had misread what I had thought been a good date so wrong that he would not even take the courtesy to reply.
I was
Wondered
ghosted.
why, but just figured that was what his decision was.
So on July 11th, when you're not hearing back from Charles, did you know that he had been shot and killed?
No.
Oof. Oof.
Did you later learn that Charles had been killed by seeing
No.
something
No.
on TV?
I was watching TV in December, I believe, and his picture came on the screen, and it said that he was dead.
When you learned that in December, that he had been killed, did you learn when that had happened? Did you try to investigate?
I did. They said the date, and I thought, oh my gosh, that's right about when I went out with him. And so I went to my phone and thought I probably had deleted our text conversations.
She was
If I'm
pissed.
not dating someone and I text, I usually delete the thread, but I had not. And I had the conversations, and then I realized that I was with him until 10:45 that night and that he died at 7:30-ish the next morning.
And did you later then talk with the police in April of 2020 to tell
She's
them
just,
what you
Lori's
knew about this
really,
case?
I did.
Thank you. The state has no other questions.
Cross.
oof.
Oh, here it is.
I need to go get water. I can't go.
Are you the whore who was dating my husband?
She's definitely my husbanding. Is that Mandy's cat fight sound?
Nancy Joe, right?
Correct.
And we have not met before,
We have
correct?
not.
Okay. And you stated that your husband, or my husband, told you that he was going through a divorce. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And did you have any way to verify that?
No, I didn't try to verify that.
Okay. So did it surprise you later to find out that we were not in the process of a divorce?
Charles was in the process of a divorce.
He was not in the process of a divorce. Did it surprise you to find that out? You've seen it all on TV where we're not getting divorced.
Okay.
So on the website that you met him, did he say he was divorced?
I'm not certain.
Would you have gone on a date with him if he would have said he was married?
If I would have realized how married he still was, maybe not. But I just met for dinner. I wasn't sleeping with him or anything.
Do you go on dates with married men?
Not
naturally?
Argumentative. I'm going to also object under 611 for harassment.
All right. I'll sustain the objection.
Your Honor, do I not have a right to cross-examine this witness for what she has already testified to?
You can cross-examine her about what she's testified to.
All right, enough with the cat.
So you did go on a date with
I
married
love
men,
that.
I went on a date with Charles.
but you did not know he was married.
I knew his divorce was not final.
His divorce was not started.
Okay.
Okay. So in your text messages, you asked Charles if he was a good kisser. Is that correct?
Objection relevance.
Did he answer that text message?
I'm
gonna
sure,
object to
I'm sure he did.
relevance.
She opened the door.
Harassment.
I'll sustain the objection for relevance.
Mandy,
That's me.
Bob, stop. All right, I want to take over and turn up the volume because this is, you don't have the
So are
thingy
you
on.
trying to tell me and this jury that you went on one date with my husband and he told you all the details of our lives?
I'm telling you the truth, and that's what I know.
So you spent your whole date getting to know each other, talking about me.
Don't flatter yourself. No, we did not spend the whole time talking about you.
All right, wait.
You talked,
Pause it.
you knew a lot
Pause
about
it.
me,
No way.
right?
I want it
I know
louder.
what I've testified to.
Wait, you want what louder?
I want to put on I can make it. Wait,
Wait, you wanna put it up?
yeah, but I got to get to the right. What number are you at?
I'm currently at minus 1353. Hey, don't flatter yourself, Lori. Oh man, that was tasty. All right,
All
are
right,
you
hold
pulling
on.
it up? I'll pull this down.
All right. Okay. Here we go. Oh man. All right, guys, buckle up, Buttercup.
Bloop bloop it backwards.
I'm right where we need to be.
All right. Everyone wants to hear that don't
We're
flatter yourself, Lori
We're
shit
right
again.
there. Trust me. I'm a little bit before it.
I'm sure he did.
Relevance. Again, 611, harassment.
I'll sustain the objection for relevance.
Doesn't sound any louder than me.
It doesn't?
Mm-mm.
So are you trying to tell me and this jury that you went on one date with my husband
Louder now, right?
and he told you all the details of our lives?
Don't flatter yourself.
I'm telling you the truth, and that's what I know.
So you spent your whole date getting to know each other, talking about me.
Don't flatter yourself. No, we did not spend the whole time talking about you.
You knew a lot about me, right?
I knew what I've testified to.
What else did you talk about on your date?
Nope. Here's
Lots of things.
Like what, for instance?
None of your business.
Life, kids, the church, lots of things.
Okay. Did he tell you about anything about our other 4 children?
Yes,
So you knew that we did have 5 children as well?
I did.
Okay. Did he talk to you about my daughter Tylee?
He did.
Did he talk about his relationship with her?
I don't recall that.
Did he talk about the contention in his relationship with my daughter Tylee?
I don't recall that.
I'm sure you don't.
Oh,
And I'm going to object to comments by the defendant made after questions testifying.
I'll sustain the objection.
On your date, you talked about my husband was a life insurance salesman. Is that correct?
I knew he did something with money and insurance, but I really didn't know the details of what he did for work. Like I said, I don't ask the details about what someone does for work when I'm trying to get to know someone.
I just asked him who the beneficiary.
But you knew that he sold life insurance. You stated that.
I believe that I had a vague understanding that he did something with insurance.
And then he brought that up again at dinner.
No, we didn't talk about his work at dinner.
I thought you said you did talk about, and correct me if I'm wrong, you said you did talk about that he changed the life insurance policy at dinner.
Well, you were asking me if we talked about that he sold insurance, which that didn't happen. But yes, he did tell me that he changed the beneficiary of his life insurance policy at dinner.
Did he tell you how much his life insurance policy was for?
Yes, he did.
What did he say?
$1 million.
Did he tell you how much my life insurance policy was for?
I do not recall.
You don't recall?
Holly.
We didn't talk about you
Accurate.
very much in that vein.
When did you talk to him about me very much then? If it wasn't at dinner, was it in your text messages?
We were talking about what he was going through in the process of separating from you, not about what your life insurance policy was worth. And we talked about you on the phone, and when I say you, meaning what he was doing as he was going through this separation.
So let me understand. You were dating some different men on this website, right? From the websites.
Sure.
Would you say it was common for men to be talking so much about their supposed ex-wives during their conversations with a potential?
It's actually very common.
This is just awful.
Really?
Really.
Interesting.
And again, Your Honor, I'm
All right.
going to object to the defendant making comments after her questions. and
I'm
move
sorry,
this
Your
way.
Honor. I won't do that again.
All right, please stop.
I'll just ask the questions.
Thank you.
She's not gonna be able to stop that. Like it's. Is that you, babe?
So there were some text messages between you and my husband after the dinner on July 10th. Is that correct?
Go ahead, open the
Correct.
door to all.
What
the
time would those
messages.
text messages have occurred?
After dinner,
What time?
10:45-ish.
10:45 to what?
I'm not certain, ma'am. After dinner.
10:45 to midnight, maybe?
I just told you I don't know. Maybe.
Come on. How
What
is
did
this
you discuss in
relevant,
those text
Lori?
messages?
And I'm going to object to relevance again.
And
If there's a
calling for
specific
hearsay?
area.
Sustained.
She did open the door to all this, though, but was irrelevant when she did it.
You testified a minute ago that Charles told you a lot of things about his wife. You didn't say ex-wife, but you said wife. Is that correct?
Okay, sure.
What were a lot of things?
The things that I've testified to.
Can you be more specific?
Am I allowed to do a narrative then?
No.
Let's go on sidebar.
Like she's opening the door to all the hearsay stuff. Like why is she asking this question? Why is she? What is wrong with her? And I'd like some better understanding here of.
You're trying to tell me and this jury that you went on one
What?
date with my husband
Yes.
and he told you all the details of our lives.
They're listening to it back. Don't flatter yourself, Lori. I mean, Lori has to remember they're going to hear all the evidence of her being with her actual husband. You know, the Daybell in your name, Lori. So all of this, like you're talking to a married man, and how long are you texting, and how long? Like, it's. There was no point for this witness to ever be called, except to elicit hearsay that she told him he should change his insurance policy.
And to have Lori go off on flack there. Like she's like, I mean, oh, for the record, that was definitely Mandy on the last cat fight soundbite, not me. Admit it,
All right,
Mandy.
bloop, bloop, babe.
You have control of the thing.
Oh.
Wow.
Sorry, guys.
Shouldn't
and you
take
don't have
too
any
much.
groups.
Wait, they're about to. It sounds like they're about to.
This witness shouldn't take too much longer. I'll have the jury wait for a few minutes. We'll see if we can finish this witness as we go into the lunch hour. But I'll excuse the jury for just a few minutes because we're having technical difficulty with the court reporter.
That's what I recall.
The defendant asked of the witness, please be seated, the jury is no longer present. The last question the defendant asked of the witness was along the lines of, what things did you discuss about me, meaning the defendant? Is that correct?
That's what I
Yes.
recall, Your Honor.
Are you sure you wanted to answer that question?
No.
Because you're opening up a really big door.
Right. No.
If you want her to answer the question, I'll have her answer the question.
Where's her lawyer?
How am I supposed to know what a lot of things are?
All right, if you want her to answer the question and there's no objection from the state, we'll
No
bring the
objection.
jury back in and have her answer the question. All right, let's bring the jury in.
Oh my Lord. Talk to your lawyer, for God's sakes.
So in your text messages,
Withdraw the question.
you asked Charles,
This is insane.
good kisser. Is that correct?
Wait, what? They're still playing some stuff. Listen.
No, that's me.
Oh. Oh, you're trying to make a tweet. What?
Is Lori Vallow?
What?
I didn't say that.
What
Let's
happened
do a
here to
sidebar.
the stream? They went. We're gonna have to switch over to Law and Order. I mean, Law and Order.
You know, almost like the Real
Yeah.
Housewives fighting accident, but
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. We got to find another. Let's see. What is the other one? Why is my brain not working? Court TV.
After dinner.
What time?
Oh, maybe they cut it. They edited it out because it came back and it was like a thing
You
happened.
seated the jury. The question, jury.
Let's see. Yeah, they didn't come back. Court is on a lunch break. So whatever happened when they came back, they edited that out. You hearing me, babe?
So what do you want to do? Do you want to, like, because I've got, let's see, on mine, like I'm live.
I'm live. It
I
says it's
still
on lunch.
have a lot of, like, I mean, I have like 15 minutes behind.
Babe, I'm live and they're on lunch.
No, I know. But
Oh.
what I'm saying is I was behind time. So we didn't have like, we weren't that far behind time on my screen because our two screens are different. I was starting back. So, all right, I'll create another live. We'll come back. What time did they say they were back? Because we have the half.
They
It's
didn't.
not only that, we have the half an hour delay.
Right. They
That's the
didn't.
problem.
That's the thing. They never, they must have edited when they brought the jury back in. She must have, something must have happened.
Well, check when they went on, like what time it was for us, and that'll give me a pretty good idea because they take an hour typically.
All right. So it was 17 minutes ago that he said what we just saw, which was, all right, I'll bring the jury back in, let them answer your question. And then they never came. They might have come back. That's what we don't know. And they might have just edited that out. So it was probably, I don't know. They're probably coming back at, what do they usually do? 1:30 their time, right? 3:30 our time. So let's do 4.
Okay. All right, I'm going to try to do,
Wait, what did that say? I'm sorry about Gigi, what Gigi said. I took it off and I didn't see the first part of it. And I didn't mean to take it off. Mandy, did you put it up? I see Brooklyn says per Gigi. Oh, Lori states she has a lot of cross to go through.
with this woman.
Right. So they must have decided to just call it.
Yeah. Okay.
So do we know if she came back and asked the question?
You said started at 4?
I think so.
What time is it for us right now?
It's 2:54.
Okay.
So it'd be an hour.
All right. So I've got that.
But I don't know because there's actually, did they leave for lunch later than usual? I don't know. Because then there's also the half-hour delay. So maybe.
Well, what time did they break?
17. about 20 minutes ago.
Okay, so what time would that have made it for us? Like
2:30.
2:30. So that's
12:30 their time. They're probably coming back at 1:30. Then there's the half-hour delay. So
2,
we maybe 4:30 we make it.
4:15. We'll do 4:15.
Okay.
I think that's right. All right, so I'll do.
And then Lisa said, "Thanks for your generosity. This woman's story is why we don't use dating apps, right?" And I think we thanked everybody else, but Lynette, thank you for your generosity. Dr. Vonda, for your generosity. Lisa, for even more generosity. It is even now more clear to me how this person could determine someone else's dark and could take things into her own hands to, quote, get rid of them. Yeah.
Bless you.
I mean, she knows it all. She's a goddess. I mean, like literally throughout all of time, she has been like Jesus's woman or a goddess or both, married to not Jesus, but whoever that one prophet is in LDS that she thinks she was married to.
Okay. All
and
right. I
thank-
think
and-
I've got the portal set up. So you guys should all be going into the closet and then portaling over to the new stream that starts at 4:15. So all right, cool. I think we're set up for that. I know the portal.
I do want to ask, does anyone know specifically what the ruling was about this advisory? Oh,
Kayla says lunch break was 50 minutes ago, 50.
right, because we're 30 minutes behind. So I keep forgetting that. So we don't incorporate that 30 minutes because we're already
So when should I set the live for?
maybe 3:30.
3:45, I'll make it. I really want to give us like a little bit of a buffer.
So make it 4 o'clock.
Okay, I'll do 4. I'll do 4 o'clock. Okay. Okay. All right, there. Okay. All right.
Oh, but I wanted to ask everyone, does anyone in the chat actually know? Again, I wish they were not advisory council. Let me see if I can do a quick search under where are we? Arizona law. Yeah, I mean, I I think the role is um let me just when we get back, I'll let you know what I find out about the actual what the Arizona law says the role of advisory council is specifically. And then we will talk about it when we get back. All right, babe. Oh, you're creating a thing.
All right, we love you all. We'll see you around 4 o'clock.
Don't flatter yourself. No, we did not spend the whole time.
Okay. I love
Are you guys like okay or what?
Yeah, I'm trying to clip that. So, all right, we love you guys. We'll see you at 4 p.m. Central Standard Time. You should portal over to the new stream. All right, we'll see you guys in a bit.
See you soon.
Eat. Bye.